Hello guys, I'm blind reaction of this video called Reborn Chapter 4, My Little Pony, Dark, Sad Fanfic Reading by Sparrow. 19 minutes and 47 seconds long. This was released days after Chapter 3 was released. What's going to happen? Is it going to get bloody? Is it going to get gruesome? I don't know until I start the reaction. In 3, 2, 1, go. Sounds like a school bell. The following story contains moral language and some disturbing content that might discuss some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. This story is as follows: defense of over factory, blah 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 blah.
The bell for lunch rang as Absentia and I closed the door on the Pegasus device. During the entire time I returned to cleaning the blades of the machine, no workers had walked past the machine.
Oh, that reminds me of me getting cut, man.
To kill me had the smarts to stay out of sight. They had already outsmarted Rainbow Dash once by closing the door on an angle where she couldn't see their worker ID number, and wearing a full-body suit so they couldn't be identified. The fact that there was some pony out to kill me made my heart skip a beat.
There was no gas to stop a full-body pony suit person, or shit, whatever.
I didn't want to be anywhere near the Pegasus device anymore. If anything, I wanted off the factory floor,
ordered you to do it.
That I was being watched by not just Rainbow Dash, but another worker in the factory. Absentia could see my desperation in my eyes to get away from the murder device, so she directed me to an elevator on the far side of the factory floor.
Lift. We call it lift.
She placed her hoof on the scanner, waiting for the scanner to grant her entrance. After a series of beeping noises, the elevator door slid open, following Absentia and I entering the well-lit space. The door slid shut as Absentia pressed a button on the keypad labeled as B. I was confused as the elevator began to descend deeper below the factory.
"I've got something to show you, Scoots,"
said Absentia.
"You aren't going to like it."
I didn't know what to expect as the elevator came to a stop and the door slid open, revealing a dark, damp room.
Wouldn't the elevator be one of those old-fashioned lifts where you have to slide back the lift car?
"The basement,"
clarified Absentia.
"Also known as the Spectra storage room."
The sight of the dimly lit room made my blood run cold. Here I was, in a room of victims to the Pegasus device, now visible by only the color of their coats. There was an array of every color imaginable within the locked cages containing the storage tubes, and the more I examined the room, the more I started to feel sick. I walked further into the room, admiring the countless colors, trying not to vomit.
Something's dripping.
5 locked cages were lined up on both sides of the room.
Blood dripping or
to the
water dripping?
Where 6 streams of spectra flowed into 6 massive storage tubes. However, the spectra was not filled to the top, but only a quarter of the way full. "It's low," I said.
"Lower than it has ever been in the time of this factory's existence,"
added Absentia. I remembered earlier that morning that Rainbow Dash had mentioned that the amounts of spectra were dropping, and as a solution, a meeting would be held. Was Absentia warning me about something?
"Dash is afraid that the factory is going to meet its end, and I believe you and I both know what she's planning to do,"
stated Absentia. I thought about Absentia's
Is that what we want,
actually?
We want the
only to realize what she meant. "You think she's going to sabotage other pigs to fail the test on purpose," I stated.
"Exactly,"
confirmed Absentia.
"The past 3 flying tests were passed with no failures, which explains why the blades had jammed on the Pegasus device. It's not because the Pegasus remains getting stuck in the blades, but because of inactivity. Until today, it had not ran for close to 2 months. She's afraid that Pegasus have become too smart to fail the flying test.
It's like 2 months without videos.
Just to feed the machine."
It's a bit erratic.
I nearly dry heaved at the sound of Absentia's theory, even though it was not yet confirmed if that was Rainbow Dash's plan. I didn't doubt that it was her plan. It was the best solution to some pony with a mind as twisted as Rainbow Dash's.
Are you gonna go along with Rainbow Dash's plan?
How are we going to stop her?
Sigurd, that's what you really want?
"The only way that she can truly be taken care of, we kill her,"
concluded Absentia. "You can count on that," I said, clenching my hoof.
Kill Rainbow Dash.
Suddenly, a sound from across the room made Absentia and I freeze. It was the sound of the elevator arriving. Why was some pony here during lunchtime?
Quick, hide!
Where?
Absentia, hiding in a shadowy area on the right side of the room. I rushed to the other side of the room, hiding in a shadowy area, hearing the elevator doors open along with the sound of two ponies talking.
There's no cameras in that
I
area?
held my breath as the sound of hoof steps
Night vision?
erupted in the room. One of the workers was dressed in a full-body suit, carrying a large storage tube. The other Pegasus was none other than Rainbow Dash, dressed in her black rubber suit.
Look at it, worker,
Yelled Rainbow Dash, shoving the worker and pointing her hoof at the large Spectra tubes.
This cannot happen. I refuse to let it happen. Spectra is what keeps the Spectre running, and without it, we have nothing but average Pegasi. Garbage to Cloudsdale!
I see it, Overmare, agreed the worker. I will be sure to bring you fresh failures this time. I swear it will not happen again.
You've said that every single time, worker.
Exclaimed Rainbow Dash.
Yet here we are. Our Spectre amounts are the lowest they've ever been. You're failing Cloudsdale. You're failing me.
The worker fell to his knees, starting to cry, and scared to death of Rainbow Dash. I'm sorry, Overmare, pleaded the worker again through his sobbing. I never meant to fail you. Please, just give me one more chance. The tone of the worker's voice
Rainbow
was
Dash
nothing but
giving
desperation
chances?
and fear. He was scared to death at the hooves of Rainbow Dash. I wanted to do something, but I knew that Rainbow Dash had the upper hoof, so I remained hidden.
I know you never meant to fail me, worker, so I have a proposition for you.
Spoke Rainbow Dash,
Get killed.
placing her hoof under the worker's
In the case,
chin.
you're gonna get killed anyway.
You do? Said the worker, still terrified.
Think of it as a promotion. You will help Wolf Cloud.
Where have I heard that
in the
before?
best way possible.
Consider
And
it
you
as
won't
a
have to
promotion.
look for it
Last time that happened,
Rainbow Dash
someone
looked at
died.
the worker to his hooves again, staring him in the eyes.
Some pony died.
Thank you, ma'am, said the worker, relieved. But his relief was immediately silenced with a chuckle from Rainbow Dash.
You're welcome, worker.
She replied, as she pulled her taser from her belt and landed a powerful jolt to the worker's neck.
Called it!
The Pegasus fell to the floor, convulsing from the shock.
Is he
No,
dead?
please, pleaded the worker, as Rainbow Dash grabbed hold of both of his wings and broke the limbs in two,
Oh, that.
causing the worker to scream in agonizing pain. The sound of the limbs snapping made my spine tingle as Rainbow Dash continued her assault against the helpless worker. She grabbed hold of both the worker's wings once more and pulled outward on both the limbs.
Ow!
The rib cleaved off of the worker's
Fucking
body,
hell!
immediately following blood-curdling screams from the worker as Rainbow Dash tossed the wings across the room. Blood gushed from the open wounds.
Your
as she
promotion
looked the
is
worker in
you're gonna
the
get
eyes,
killed basically.
then kissed him. Once the kiss was
Why?
released,
Why
the
would you
worker
kiss?
vomited and said his last words.
Why
that
would you
seal
kiss
his
the
fate.
pony after you killed
Crazy
him?
bitch!
Or going
He
to
yelled, continuing to cry. Rainbow Dash's grin fell to a look of pure anger as she lifted his head to where he was eye to eye with her.
I was going to show you mercy, but since you insulted me, you can enjoy a trip through the Pegasus device, worker.
She exclaimed. Rainbow Dash grabbed the worker's back hooves and dragged the helpless worker to the elevator, placing her hoof on the scanner. Once the door slid open, she stepped inside along with the worker, taking her leave. Once the murderous mare was gone, Absentia and I stepped out of hiding and looked at each other with looks of horror on our faces. I felt like I was going to be sick, noticing the severed wings along both sides of the walkway to the elevator.
I knew Dash was ruthless, but not that ruthless.
Said Absentia, her voice full of fear. Now what? I asked.
We need to wait a few minutes, then we can leave.
She stated. I didn't know if I could handle being in this room much longer. I had just witnessed a darker side of Rainbow Dash that was even darker than the one I saw in my final moments of life. I had never seen such brutality by any pony. Even in her pursuit with me, she wasn't as ruthless as this Rainbow Dash was. It was as if she had
Especially the same
grown
Rainbow
into a much
Dash,
more
isn't it?
sinister monster,
5 minutes should be long enough.
stated Absentia.
We need to wait until we know it's safe.
A strange feeling had
What
started
the
to come
cameras
over me the longer
see
I
you
waited.
going down the lift?
It was
Come
as if
on!
the dark atmosphere had just entered the room, and it was slowly starting to eat at my mind like a parasite. A sick feeling came over me and grew worse the longer I sat. I had even started to sweat from the sudden impact of the atmosphere. I wanted out of this room, but Absentia was right. It wasn't safe yet, so I sat in wait. My heart
Okay.
had begun to race as I looked over the grim room, and out of it, something caught my eye.
What?
Something that nearly made me gag. In one of the locked cages with the golden label labeled Spec, I saw 3 Spectra tubes. 3 colors I recognized: brown, light green, and orange. That was the colors of me, Orion, and Aurora. Without a doubt, I knew that was my spectra, and Rainbow Dash had kept it as a trophy for her bittersweet victory.
Yeah.
You okay?
Asked Absentia.
No, he's not.
I couldn't respond. The impact was too much for me to take in. Along with the strange atmosphere of the factory itself, I had slowly started to collapse.
Hey!
Yelled Absentia.
What?
I didn't even hear her as I passed out. Painful sting on my right cheek is what woke me from my sudden collapse. My vision was blurry for a second, but became clear quickly as I noticed a dimly lit Absentia above me. We were still in the Spectra storage room, so I hadn't passed out for long. Absentia looked irritated as she helped me up from the still floor.
I swear, Scoots, if you pass out one more time, I'm going to leave you behind,
she stated with aggravation in her voice. Sorry, Absentia, I said. I don't know what came over me.
No time for apologies, kid. We need to move,
She clarified with severity in her voice. Suddenly I remembered what Rainbow Dash had done, and why we were still in this hell-bent area of the Rainbow Factory.
Get out of there now!
Time had passed since I had passed out. It didn't matter now.
Kill Rainbow Dash.
We had to
get the fuck out
before we were caught.
Come on, Scoots!
Commanded Absentia. I didn't argue and trotted alongside Absentia until we were at the elevator opening, where Absentia placed her hoof on the scanner. Once her access was granted, the sound of the elevator descending to our location erupted. The sound of the elevator was surprisingly loud and made the entire floor shake, causing debris to fall from the basement ceiling. I was afraid that the ceiling was going to cave in the lower the elevator descended, until it finally arrived at its destination. A ding followed the elevator's arrival, following the steel door sliding open. Absentia and I wasted no time and proceeded into the elevator. Absentia pressed a button on the elevator keypad labeled F as the door slid shut, and the elevator quickly ascended back to the factory floor. The doors of the elevator slid open, revealing the factory floor, but immediately I knew something wasn't right. A crowd of workers surrounded the Pegasus device, where Rainbow Dash stood in that same spot she stood all those years ago.
What's
She
happening?
stood in the dim light with a grin of death, looking down at all of her workers. It was just like the day of my first arrival, except there was a large number of workers this time. I felt like I was reliving the same nightmare, as my mind replayed that dreadful day. All the workers disappeared, replacing it with Orion, a horribly injured Aurora, and I. Rainbow Dash's face was covered by her hood, rephrasing the story of how the Pegasus device ever came into existence. All three of us sat on the floor, confused and scared as Rainbow Dash revealed her face, and a pair of familiar words erupted. I thought you loved me! I remembered those words all too well. It was the words that made Rainbow Dash stop dead in her tracks, only to see me among the failures she had brought
Who is it?
through the Pegasus device.
Rainbow Dash, come on.
If she cared or not, I had no idea. But at this point, I didn't care. The visuals of my first day in the factory faded back to reality as Rainbow Dash spoke.
All of you are probably wondering why I called you here.
Spoke
Yes.
Rainbow Dash.
Well, it turns out that somewhere in this factory, some pony has decided to do a futile act that can only last so long in this factory before they are caught and taught the ultimate lesson. In the past, as you all know, we've had rebels, traitors, ponies who thought they could outsmart gods like us. As gods, we must teach these rebels that gods cannot be fooled with such futile acts. As an example, a demonstration must be given to show all of you that such acts will not be tolerated.
Out of the sounds of
Okay.
the factory floor, the sound of rattling chains and a hydraulic pulley erupted, lifting a worker from the factory floor to just above the Pegasus device. The worker's wings were severed, and that's when I quickly figured out that that was the worker I had just witnessed being tortured to death by Rainbow Dash.
This worker has failed us.
She exclaimed, pointing to the worker.
Thanks to this worthless scum, our Spectra levels are lower
He's
than
not
ever
dead then.
before.
Oh,
You all
technically
know
dead
that
then.
Spectra is what keeps this facility running, and without it, we are nothing but trash to Cloudsdale. Without failures to feed the machine, we have no Spectra. So as a punishment for his failure, this worker will pay the ultimate price. At least he'll serve purpose by adding Spectra to our resources. And if any of you shall fall, to this worker's level, you will pay the same price!
Okay!
That moment, the Pegasus device erupted to life, and my stomach turned at the sight of what I was seeing.
I could do this louder when my mom was here. Wow.
When Orion was ripped from my life. In place of the worker, Orion hung from the chains, inches from the grinding blades of the Pegasus device. Another set of words I'll never forget erupted in my mind again. Goodbye, Orion. I love you too. The final words I spoke to him, before his ribs and wings were broken, and finally he was grinded to nothing but spectra. Once again, I returned to reality, as I watched the worker in the chains. The chains twisted the worker, until his ribs were snapped, sticking outside of his flesh, and his screams of agony throughout the factory. Tears streamed from my eyes, as Remo Dash stared at the worker with fire in her eyes. Suddenly, her glare changed direction from the worker to the crowd of workers.
You!
She yelled, pointing out her hoof. I didn't know who she was pointing to, until I noticed all the other workers' glares turning to me. I wanted to pass out again. Me? I asked.
Yeah, you!
Clarified Rainbow Dash.
Get up here! You get to do the honors!
My stomach immediately turned. I had to kill him.
Again?
Why me? I asked.
Consider it an honor, worker. Turns out this is the worker who tried to drown you in the machine that you stand before. So I figured you'd want to teach this worker a lesson.
My heart skipped a beat. Was Rainbow Dash lying or telling the truth? Absentia nudged me as a sign to just listen to Rainbow Dash. So I didn't resist, and made my way up the steel stairs to the top of the machine, standing next to my worst enemy.
Don't just kill him, worker. Make him suffer for that foolish attempt to kill you.
She was clearly being strict, so I made my way into the Pegasus device control room, standing before two levers and the button to turn on the machine.
Oh, levers.
One lever was designed to lift the victim, while the other was to lower the victim. So I grabbed hold of the lever to lower the victim and slowly pulled the lever down.
God, please.
I watched as the worker's back legs impacted with the blades, immediately shredding them to nothing but muck. I continued to lower the worker, hearing his cries for mercy. But did he deserve my mercy? This question made me pause, and my anger immediately grew. This worker had tried to kill me, so he didn't deserve no remorse. Now realizing the truth, I lowered him further.
How did they?
Pulled his back.
Ow! How
and his
did they
abdominal
fire at the pony who did?
wide
Oh my
open.
god.
I decided to play with him, just as he had me, and lifted him away from the blades, letting him dangle from high above the blades. Blood poured from his open body along with his intestines hanging from a large opening, seeming to hoses from the inside of his body. His body had begun to shake massively, along with his face falling to a pale color, and blood leaking from his mouth. The feeling was overwhelming, as I watched the worker suffer and his intestines fell from his body into the grinding blades. I was going to let him hang there and slowly die. Fair was fair, and I had the upper hoof, so I was going to let him suffer. Even Rainbow Dash watched me, with a devious smile on her face, now knowing just how ruthless I was.
That's what I'm talking about. Let him suffer.
I did let him suffer. Over 10 minutes passed before most of his inner organs had fallen into the blades, and he was only alive by a thread.
Finish him, worker.
Commanded Rainbow Dash. I didn't argue, finally lowered the remaining half of the worker's body into the blades, watching as the spectra entered the spectra storage chamber of the machine. I didn't feel sad or anything, but more accomplished than anything, as Rainbow Dash signaled me to join her on the balcony.
You see that, workers? That was a true work of art. Let it be known that if any pony ever dares to turn against another worker ever again, this will be your punishment.
Rainbow Dash turned to me with a strange look on her face.
Congrats, worker.
She said to me,
Welcome to the Pegasus device, because from now on, you'll be operating it.
My stomach turned again. I had not realized it yet, but I had become a victim of the factory. Maybe not through the blades of the Pegasus device, but through its dark atmosphere. What I didn't know is just how far I had fallen. I had to scramble for words. Yes, ma'am, I spoke out of my debate with myself.
From now on, call me Dash, worker.
Stated Rainbow Dash. Yes, Dash, I replied in a shaky voice. I was one of them now. I didn't know it yet, but I was one of them. Absentia knew it, as I saw her face among the crowd. It was an expression of fear and disappointment. She knew I had been converted into a monster.
To be continued! Right. Fucking hell, man! What the fucking hell? Is a fucking hell? Wait, but Dash is a fucking killer? Who's she? Wow. Alright. Okay, that was a good episode. In the well, I can't remember where, halfway in the video, I really felt a little bit of my curry down in my belly. I thought, keep it down because I got a strong stomach. I did cough, but that was because I needed a drink in any case. Good voice acting by VA for Rainbow Dash, Dash, I think it's her name is. Great acting there, but some issues, not technically issues, but probably plot holes. Maybe is there a camera inside the lift? Why there's no camera in that where all the bodies were? You see, I thought I imagined the lift will be one of the old, like at work you slide the landing gate and the lift car gate, the old-fashioned lifts.
Oh, come on!
Apparently fucking Sweetbird doesn't fucking agree with me, even though Scootaloo is, you know, anyway. I think Sweetbird's missing Scootaloo. You can know, trouble is, hopefully in the story you don't get chopped Scootaloo. Chopped chicken. It's a joke. It's a joke. Okay, I can't wait for on the next chapter for chapter 5. Not sure when that will be released. And we'll come back in my next reaction. Oh, yes.